Hello again, gentle viewers, and welcome back to another episode of The Broken Wheel. So, in this video, what I'd like to do is kind of change things up a little bit. So, in my previous videos, I've been just sort of throwing factoids at you. So, in this one, what I want to do is kind of go over what we know is going to be in the TV series, some of the characters, and who we know is playing them, my thoughts on that, and where the story is going to start. Again, if you haven't seen my previous videos, I recommend you check those out, as I will make reference to them. This video will be mostly spoiler-free. Again, I will be making reference to some of the characters, so you'll just be learning who they are, and I won't give away too much about what's going to happen. After that, mostly just diving into their backstory. So with that said, let our journey begin again. So the Wheel of Time story starts in this area I've made reference to earlier called the Two Rivers area. This area is part of the Kingdom of Andor to the far west, but is mostly forgotten about simply because, if for no other reason, this area has no real strategic value, nor any real resource value. The land is very fertile, making it ideal for farming. However, because of the mountains to the west and the two rivers, the River Terran to the north and east, and the White River to the south, not to mention the Waterwood, which is apparently a swamp, and the mire, this makes it very much a logistical nightmare for any army attempting to move through. There's only a few towns in there, but Emond's Field in the center is where the five characters, or the Emond's Field 5, as some fans call it, are from. The Two Rivers area is made up of very simple folk, not really having any access to any finery, nor the need for such. Everybody knows everybody, and in some cases, everybody's related to everybody. So, your stereotypical small town hamlet. Where the novel starts, it is springtime. However, the area has been struck by an unusual cold snap. It should be in the full swing of springtime. However, it's still very much almost like winter, which has caused concern for many of the people. Despite that, spirits are actually high due to the coming of Beltane, which is a spring festival that all the villages in the area partake in. There's much excitement there's been rumor that Gleeman will come and perform, which is a traveling bard, minstrel, storyteller, whatever, as well as perhaps even fireworks. Moiraine is keeping her identity as an Aes Sedai a secret, basically wanting to avoid any unnecessary questions about her particular reason for being so far out into the country. So Moiraine is being played by an actress named Rosamund Pike. If I mispronounce that, or anybody else's name, I do beg the pardon. I actually like her as Moiraine. I can definitely see her as the Moiraine. She definitely has that poise and elegance and somewhat of a commanding presence, like someone you don't want to question, that Moiraine definitely has, as she is someone who is used to being in authority as an Aes Sedai. My only real gripe with her would be that she's too tall to really be a Moiraine. Moiraine is supposed to be very short, she's close to 5'2". In fact, when she was younger and training in the White Tower in Tar Valon, she was often teased by the older girls about how she looked like a pretty little doll. So the next person we're going to introduce, and this is one of the three young men that have gained the attention of the Dark One and Moiraine, is Rand al'Thor. Rand is the only son of Tam al'Thor and Kari al'Thor. However, Kari passed away when he was 5, so he does not remember her much, but does have some memories of her being very kind. Rand is exceptionally tall, as well as having red hair, or reddish hair, which is unusual for the Two Rivers area, as most people have dark hair and are of medium height. This is typically explained by Tam al'Thor as Kari being from outside the Two Rivers and having red hair, which is where he gets those traits from. It's not specific what he actually does in the Two Rivers area as far as just work on his father's farm. He is roughly 19, as well as the two other young men. He is being played by Joshua Stradowski. Again, I kind of like him for this role, as I can kind of see that red tinge in his hair. Not sure if he's got the chops to really play such a prominent figure in a TV show, but we'll see. Again, the only real thing I've got against him is his height. But then again, Rand is supposed to be 6'6", so it's be very hard to find a 6'6" actor to really pull off that role. But he is still tall, being about 6'3" from what I've read. So the next young man is Perrin Aybara. I may have butchered that, and I apologize. Perrin is the apprentice of the town blacksmith. As such, he has a great deal of upper body strength with thick arms and a broad chest. So Perrin is the oldest of 4 children born to Khan and Jocelyn Aybara. Like Randy, he is also 19 years old. However, he does not live with his family in their farm outside of town. Because he is the blacksmith's apprentice, he has been living in town for several years during his apprenticeship. He has 2 younger sisters and 1 younger brother. So he's often described as being very slow to anger and takes time thinking about things. Because he's so strong, he likes to be careful that he doesn't hurt anybody with his great strength. I tend to think that what's really more the case is the fact that he is this blacksmith's apprentice, because working metal is more than just pounding on hot iron with a hammer like you see in TV and movies. Being a blacksmith, it takes a sharp mind, and you need to have patience and be methodical. These are traits that Perrin has, and I believe traits he has developed over the course of his apprenticeship. So that's how I kind of view him. Perrin is being portrayed by Marcus Rutherford. Not sure how that's going to turn out, mostly because Perrin is supposed to have a great deal of upper body strength. He's going to need to really hit the weights if he wants to really have the look of a blacksmith's apprentice, but we'll see where they go with that. So the third young man in the list is Matram, or Matt Coffin. Matt is the merry mischief maker of Emond's Field. He's always playing pranks, getting into trouble. If there's some trouble that happens, he's the first person everybody looks to. He is the eldest son of Ebel and Natty Coffin, with 2 younger sisters. Matt is being portrayed by Barry Harris, and I really like the choice of actors for this role because he's got that kind of mischievous twinkle in his eye look, but at the same time also kind of got this devilish rogue look to him, because Matt is also very much a flirt. He loves to dance with all the ladies, and it becomes very well known for his rather stylistic way of flirting with women. The next character I will introduce, and the oldest, is Nynaeve Almira. She is the oldest of the 5, being at least 4 years older than the 3 boys. She was also apparently the scourge of their existence in their early teen years. Nynaeve is the Emond's Field town wisdom, which is a nurse / midwife / sort of weather person. Well, their primary function is that to provide medical care as well as predicting the weather, the seasons, which is very important, of course, for a farming community. Nynaeve is the youngest woman to have ever become a town wisdom, much to the ire of some of the more traditional folk who think she is just plain too young for the position. However, no one has been able to doubt her abilities in that position, as she has shown a rather remarkable talent for treating injuries as well as predicting the weather. However, like all the rest of the wisdoms, she is very much perplexed about the lingering winter that has affected the entire region. She's also very well known for her quick temper and sharp tongue. She usually wears her hair in one long braid down her right shoulder, which she habitually tugs on whenever she is angry, which is quite often. So Nynaeve is being played by a Zoe Robbins, and kind of the same thing with Moiraine. I do feel that she's too tall to really be Nynaeve, because Nynaeve is also very short, being at 5'3" or 5'4". But I don't see why she can't play Nynaeve. It'll be interesting to see how she portrays the character of Nynaeve. And the fifth and final character from Emond's Field is Egwene Alvear. Egwene is the daughter of the town mayor, who also runs the town inn. Now, she is the youngest daughter of the family, having 4 older sisters. So Egwene is the youngest daughter of Meryn Alvear and Brandolin Alvear. She's also the most adventurous of the Emond's Field 5. The other 4 are not interested in leaving the Two Rivers, exploring the world, or anything like that, while Egwene very much wants to see what else is out there, have an adventure and excitement. Definitely doesn't want to just stick around and work in her father's inn and maybe take over or just end up working for one of her older sisters for the rest of her life. So Egwene will be played by Madeline Madden. I hope I said that right. I'll be interested to see how that turns out. Now, Moiraine does not come to Emond's Field alone. She comes with her bodyguard or warder, and I will go over warders in a future video, and his name is Alan Mandragoran, or simply Land. Now, Lan is your epitome of the strong silent type. He does not speak often, is said to have a face like stone, very expressionless, but at the same time is not someone you trifle with. In one instance, 6 men were sent to kill him at once, and he managed to take out all 6 of them with only minor injuries, so he is not someone you want to mess with. Lan is being portrayed by Daniel Henney. So Daniel Henney is of South Korean descent, and I bring this up because I kind of see where they're going by having an Asian man play Lan, because of the fact that many of the traditions of his people, as well as the armor that he wears, is reminiscent of the Japanese samurai. Though, obviously, Henney is not Japanese, but I can kind of see where they're going with that. Again, Lan is portrayed as being exceptionally tall, being 6'5", but again, I see it hard to find an actor that is that tall to play the role. I really like this choice of actor, and I'm anxious to see how that's going to play out in the series. Now, a character I wasn't expecting to see in the first season is Siuan Sanche. The reason I wasn't expecting it is because Siuan is the head of the Aes Sedai Order in Tar Valon, or the Amyrlin Seat. Not sure how she's going to appear in the episodes, except maybe of a flashback or kind of as a cutaway. One thing to add is that Siuan and Moiraine are actually childhood friends. They first met as young girls at the White Tower. They started their Aes Sedai training at the same time. They rose in power at the same rate and became Aes Sedai on the same day, which is exceptionally rare. As such, they were very close over those years and remained so in the years following that. Moiraine has always said that she believed that Siuan was destined to be a leader, as she always felt that Siuan had a commanding presence, which was in contrast to her very modest origins as a fisherman's daughter, who shipped her off to the White Tower as soon as her abilities were discovered. Though she does tend to have a bit more of a fouled mouth than what you would expect from an Aes Sedai. Siuan Sanche will be played by Sophie Okonedo. I don't really know much about this actress, so again, I'll just have to see how that plays out in the series. Next character would be Min Far Shah. Now, Min is a young woman that works in the closest city to the Two Rivers area of Baerlon. She's had past associations with Moiraine because Min has a unique ability that she can view people's destinies by seeing visions in their auras. Moiraine brings the three young men to her, hoping to find out what it is about these three young men that is special, and also trying to figure out which one the Dark One is after. Min is definitely not your well-brought-up young lady in the fact that she absolutely refuses to wear dresses, prefers to wear breeches, much to the ire of her and relatives. Min will be played by Kay Alexander. Now, I'm a little bit iffy on that choice. Min's full name is actually Elmin Dreda Farshah, but it is simply shortened to Min. I sometimes wonder if the fact that it's Min made the casting want to cast an Asian woman in that role. But either way, I just feel that Alexander is a bit too old to be playing the role of Min, because Min is actually supposed to be a little younger than the three young men from Emond's Field, so that would put her somewhere around perhaps 17 or 18. So it kind of depends on where they're going with that character. If they want to take her character to the full extent in the series of books, then I would say they would probably want to go for somebody younger, but again, we'll see how that goes. The next character is Loial. Now, Loial is an Ogier, which is a non-human race that inhabits this world. As I've explained in previous video, these beings are exceptionally large and have very broad features. So I was thinking maybe they would do this with CGI, kind of like what they did with the giants in Game of Thrones, but looks like not. So Loial will be portrayed by Hamin Anamashan. I hope I said that right. So again, not sure if they're just going to use makeup to kind of broaden his features and use camera angles to make him look taller, or if they're just not going to do any of that altogether. Rand's father, Tam al'Thor, is actually very well known throughout the Two Rivers area as being someone you can depend on, and known for his skills with the quarterstaff and a bow. He's also part of the village council, which is kind of a legislative advisory council to the mayor. So Tam will be played by Michael McElhatton, and I can see him as a Tam. As mentioned previously, the Emond's Field decided to hire a gleeman for this year's spring festival, and the one that arrived was Tom Merrilin. Now, he's very much the man of the world type of character. You know, he's been to this part and that part and back. He's got 100 stories to tell, and that's actually his profession, is telling tales, as well as being a great orator, having a good singing voice. He juggles, he performs magic tricks. He's just an all-around entertainer. His cloak of office, the multicolored patched cloak of a gleeman, also contains many pockets where he hides his various knickknacks for his performance. Now, Tom will be portrayed by Alexandre Willam. I'm not quite sure about this choice, just because Tom has always been described as being a bit older and having like snow white hair and his distinguished two-lane mustache. So maybe they'll just do away with that and just let him do his own thing with the character, but that's just my 2 cents on it. Another I was pleasantly surprised was the character of Padan Fain. Now, Padan Fain is a traveling peddler who comes to the Two Rivers area from wherever. Basically, he's one of the few people that brings news of the outside world to the Two Rivers folk. As such, when he arrives, it's very much an event, as people are looking to get goods from outside of the area, as well as what's going on in the world. When he comes this time, he brings much foreboding about the world at large, how the lingering winter is not just in the Two Rivers area, but is actually all over, causing many people a great deal of concern. There's also talk of war in the southern neighboring region of Gildan, and the talk of a false dragon. However, being the type of man that he is, he's definitely milking it all for the most amount of attention he can get. So I like the choice of actors for this, which is Johan Myers. I like the look of him. He's definitely what I would think of when I'm thinking of Padan Fain throughout the entire course of the novels. So I believe they're going to have his complete storyline, or at least he's going to be a major player later on. And because of that, I like that kind of emaciated look that he has. I really think that's going to work. So one character, this is actually a very minor character, but I just found it funny that he got included in here, is Sen Bui. He is the town thatcher and your stereotypical crotchety old man who has an opinion about everything and will share it with you no matter if you want it or not. So I can see what they're going to be doing with him. And he will be played by David Stern, and again, I definitely see him as Sen Bui, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing him as Sen Bui. So I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in to The Broken Wheel. As always, if you like this content, please drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel to help it grow. Until the next time, may the light be with you.